welcome to another episode of Wandering Photography. I genuinely didn't think I was going to be able to do this year, which is my annual tradition of going to Westonbirt Arboretum to photograph the autumn colour. It's about an hour drive for me, and then obviously there's walking, and then there's the drive back. So with having had my op on my legs, I was like, I don't think this is going to happen this year. But they're doing pretty well. I got the day off work, it's sunny. We're going to give it a go. I think I'll be alright. At the end of the day, there's a cafe and I can sit and have a hot chocolate if not so. So, for the Arboretum, I'm normally a fan when I go for walks and stuff of just taking one lens or maybe a second lens in my pocket so that I don't have to carry too much. But that is not the case for today. So, we need my camera with its normal lens. Check that it's got my battery and it's got my SD card in it because I'm very good at forgetting both of those. I'm going to put in my longer lens, which is a 70 to 300mm. Do I tend to use it? I have used this a few times because of the squirrels and the wildlife around. Also going to take my macro lens. It's a 55mm macro. This is my granddad's old lens from his film camera, which I've got an adapter on for my digital camera. I love taking the close-ups of the leaves and the pine cones and stuff, so that one will definitely be needed. 2 spare batteries, because you never know, and a spare SD card, because I tend to forget mine. So it's always handy to have it. I've got my little bag for my microphone and for you. Got my tripod for you. Bottle of water. And I guess the last thing is for you to come with me. Right, time to put the macro lens on. I really love the colour of the leaves, like you got the reds and the yellows and the greens, and then you got these berries in here as well, which are really nice. So I'm going to try and take some macro shots of that. It is a lot windier here than it was at home. I decided to put a dress on because I thought it would be nice to wear, and now it's blowing all over the place. Also, didn't register this half term, so it was very busy and there are kids everywhere. Whoops, pretty sure I made this exact same mistake last year too. Got up early to get here early before too many kids arrive because it happens to be half term. Really want to learn from that. So when I'm walking along, one of the things I'm looking for is something that grabs my eye. So I saw these kind of pink colours and I really liked those, so I wanted to capture them in a photo. So then I get a bit closer and I'm trying to find an image. This is part of the problem, is that it's so windy. Everything keeps moving. When you got manual focus with the macro lens, it's a bit annoying. Anyway. So I'm trying to isolate a subject. So one thing I'm looking for is, say, these pair of leaves here. They're quite separate from everything else, so that means that the background can blur a bit more, so it makes them stand out compared to everything else. And I also like the colours. They've got like a yellowy vein in the middle of them and then the pink leaves, so they stand out quite nicely when you're using the macro lens. And the challenge is then to get them in focus and stop the wind from moving around long enough for me to get a photo. So here's another example. These leaves really stood out to me. I really love how you've got these like green and yellows, but then you've got these really red veins in them. Then you pick a leaf and you have to hope it doesn't blow off the tree in the wind. But then you're trying to find something that you can isolate. So this one, for example, really nice colours, and it kind of stands on its own against the background. There is this one behind, but if I get that angle right, also just need to be a bit careful of this one and making sure that that's not in the frame either. Yeah, so I think that's a good choice, and then I'll have a look around and see if there's a couple of others as well, just for backup. The light on that tree there is just spot on because the rest of it's in shadow, so it really makes it stand out. So I think there's a good picture to be taken there, which means I need to change my lens because that is not a macro shot. There's some birds playing in the trees. What do you think the chances are that they'll fly away if I put my long lens on? Yep, got the long lens on and it flew off. Did I just hear it again? Has it come back? And it's gone. Damn it. That is always the way. I feel like they know what the long lens is, and so they immediately run. To be fair, they were quite hidden in this tree because there wasn't, it's all pine needles and stuff, so it's quite hard to see it. Hey ho. Onwards. The light coming in to this little glade is so nice. You got the sun like coming in and hitting the edge of that tree and just, sounds a bit poetic, dancing on the leaves. It makes for a really nice picture, particularly just like the first bit of this trunk here with the branches coming off is really nice. I'm going to take a photo of that. I've tried to take pictures here a few times. I love the changes of the colours of the tree trunks as they sort of go down, and the perspective, and the light is really nice today. But every time, it's never quite what I want it to be. but I'm also not quite sure what I want it to be, so that probably doesn't help. Question is, am I going to try it again? The answer is yes. I have changed my lens again. I actually quite like having the people down at the bottom because I'm hoping it's going to add a little bit of perspective. I mean, I've taken a couple with and a couple without, so we'll see. Maybe that is it. I've got this tree here that's got really nice light on it, and it looks really nice, so I position it sort of on the edge of the frame and then show the trees going away behind it. That might be the shot I've been looking for. You know, I've always taken it from up the end and never actually walked down here. Always walked down the other bit of the path, so we'll see if that is the shot. This leaf of this tulip tree is bigger than my head. The size of these leaves, they're enormous. But also the sun is shining on them really nicely. Nicely. English. It's kind of like coming through the leaves, so I'm doing a bit of a close-up. They're actually really soft, they kind of feel a bit velvety. Look at the texture on this tree. When the acer leaves start drying up, they produce like leaves like this, and I always think they look like people dancing or some sort of expression of dance. They're really cool. It's getting to that time of day when we've got really nice light and it's shining really nicely on this tree here. Problem is I've got these two like boxes behind them of mesh stuff, so I'm trying to work out if there's an angle I can stand at that would not have those in them. The light isn't quite as nice, but I think that will do. There's something I've been wanting to do the entire time, but I just wanted to find somewhere quiet and out of the way to do it. There is still a footpath behind me, but I feel far enough out of the way that I could do it, so let's do it. The kids are allowed to do it, why can't we? I wish a squirrel would just run along this log, but if it could just like give me a couple of minutes notice so I can change my lens to my long lens, that would be amazing. Getting to that time of day when you've got the low light and it is so nice. Look at the shapes of these trees. Now rhododendrons, that'd be why. I'm aware that macro lenses are quite expensive because I was looking at getting one before I ended up with my granddad's, and yeah, they're quite a lot of money. Just thought it was worth saying that you can take fairly close-up shots without having a macro lens. This one of this pink flower that I've just taken, I took with my 18-55mm lens, not my macro lens, so it is still possible. You have to just play around with how close up you can get with the lens that you've got. I hope you've enjoyed today's adventure. I know I have. The colour is beautiful and the weather's been really nice, which I'm glad to have made the most of because it's been pretty miserable for the last couple of weeks. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a like and hit the subscribe button to see more. We have just been around the old Arboretum today. We haven't even touched the new Arboretum, which is like twice the size. Because I wasn't going to put my legs through that today, and I thought I'd be better off just sticking with the little bit that I knew I could do. But we've definitely spent a decent amount of time. I've enjoyed playing around with quite a few macro shots, getting a little bit annoyed with changing my lens, which is one of the reasons that I kind of didn't want to change from a bridge camera a few years ago. But I wouldn't have been able to get the macro shots I have if I had my bridge camera. So, you know, you win some and you lose some. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next week, Friday at 11 o'clock. Bye.